giving us the foundation of our life, which is a God-centered life, which is understanding that there is God, a controller that owns everything and controls everything, and everything is his property. So there is a supreme being, and Isha Vasham Idam Savam. So Isha means controller. There's a supreme controller, and that supreme controller, he is the proprietor of everything. He owns everything. So everything's God's property. Nothing is my property, your property, India's property, America's property, New Zealand, Australian property, government property, whatever. Of course, for practical purposes, we do have our properties and so forth. But we should understand deep down that ultimately nothing is mine, nothing is yours, everything belongs to God. However, even though everything belongs to God, God is giving us a share of his property, a quota. Everyone has a quota. And like we've talked about, an ant has a different quota of God's property than an elephant. You see? According to the requirements, the needs of every living entity, the quota may be different. And even within human beings, maybe your quota will be different than my quota. Like if I'm a Brahmana, then I should have a very small quota. I should be satisfied with just very basic things. But if someone's a Vaishya or like that, a Kshatriya, whatever, their quota will be more. But I should be happy with my quota and not think, oh, let me take Narendra's quota as well, and this one, that one, and so forth. So everyone should be happy with the share of their property that's being distributed by God. But ultimately, everything belongs to God. It's all his property. And in that way, that if we follow that principle, that God-centered principle, we can live together in harmony and peace. Of course, modern day society is very advanced in so many technologies, so many ways. But is there any peace? No peace. There's always war and fighting and quarreling on a global scale, on a international scale, nationally, socially, politically, individually, family. There's all quarrels going on, and that's Kali Yuga. That's what the meaning of Kali Yuga is. Kali means quarrel. Kali, the meaning of Kali Yuga. The Yuga means the age of Kali. So Kali means quarrel and also means hypocrisy. So these are the symptoms of Kali Yuga: quarrel, hypocrisy. And this is because of a godless life, because of going away from God, becoming more ignorant and forgetting that God's the proprietor of everything, and starting to think with so much ego, false ego, that this is mine and, I want yours as well. Let me take more and everything like that. Recently I saw some news, some Chinese banker lady. She was very popular, very famous, everything. But she got found that she had plundered like millions and millions and millions of US dollars. I mean, in China, and it gave in Chinese yen, but in converting to US dollars was hundreds of millions of US dollars. So imagine how much yen that was. She had falsely taken that money from the customers, and she's been put in jail for life in China, life imprisonment, because she has stolen so much property from others. So this leads to so much problems when we become godless and we think, I am God, everything is mine, I can enjoy everything, like that. So this is, and not just one or two people have that mentality, but basically the general mass of people have that mentality that I am the controller, I am the enjoyer, I am the proprietor. And you put all them together and you get war. Like when you put dogs together, do you get peace and harmony when you put a pack of dogs together? No, they're all fighting. This is my land. No, it's mine. Get off. This is mine. Go away. They're all fighting like that. So number one is helping us to get centered around God. And number two is, text number two is saying, mantra two, that if you live in a God-centered life, you can live as long as you want, as long as you can in the material world, and you won't get bound up by karma. You won't get bound up by karma. Of course, getting bound up by karma means you have to come back again, take birth again. If you're not bound up by karma, means that even you live your long life, you're not bound up by karma, you've followed this God-centered principle, you've say you lived a long life, you'll die, of course, the body will die, but you'll get liberated at the end of that life. You won't take birth again because there's no bondage of karma. But if you don't live a God-centered life, then this is mantra 3, the one today. What's the result of not living a God's... Number 2 was, if you live a God-centered life, then you won't get bound up by karma and have to take birth again. But this mantra 3 is the talking about the opposite, if we don't live a God-centered life. Okay, so I'll recite one line at a time and you can follow along.
Yep.
Repeat. Asuryanam te loka.
Asuryanam te loka.
Andhena tamasavataha.
Andhena tamashrata.
Tamste pretya vigachati.
Tamse te pretya abhigachanti.
Ye ke chatma hano janaha.
Ye ke cha atma hanujana.
Okay. So Narendra, would you like to read the translation, please?
Yes. The killer of soul, whoever he may be, must enter into the planets known as the worlds of faithless, full of darkness and ignorance.
Do you notice anything unusual in that sentence?
The killer of soul, whom he may be, must enter into the planet of known as the world of faithless, full of darkness and ignorance.
What seems to go against the basic philosophy?
Killer of soul. Okay, that's...
Yeah. That's very unusual to say killer of soul, because you could say, well, I thought it says in the Bhagavad Gita that you can't kill the soul. Krishna told Arjuna that the soul can never be killed. So
it's not literal killing, basically. It's
okay. Yep. So that's right. Not literally killing. So like Bhagavad Gita says, Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. When the body is killed, but the soul are not killed. Aja, Nitya, Shashvato, Yam Purana. The soul is Aja, unborn. Shashvata, everlasting. Purano, very old, very ancient, like that, no history. So like that, in many ways, Krishna establishes in the Bhagavad Gita that the soul is eternal. It has no birth, it has no death. You can't kill the soul. Of course, you can very easily kill the body. That's no problem at all. But killing the soul, in other verses, Krishna says things like, Achedyoyam adyoyam, akledya shosyevacha, nitya savagatastunur chaloyam sanatana. So what that says, the soul's unbreakable. It cannot be burnt by fire. It cannot be cut by any weapon. It cannot be dried. It cannot be drowned by wind, dried out by wind. There's nothing you can do like that to the soul. So then how come here it's saying the killer of the soul? How can you kill a soul? So what that means is that if the soul makes certain choices that are in rebellion to God and God's laws, goes against God's laws, as a result of those choices, because those are choices one has made. It's not just forced upon us, but those are choices that the soul makes, because we're part of God, right? So God has unlimited free choice. So we're a part of God, so we have a minute amount of free choice. So if we misuse that free choice, and like I said, instead of wanting to serve God, humbly serve God, which is our natural constitutional position, Swarupena Vyavastati, that's the nature of what was the soul made for, to serve God. That's who we are. That's what we are. You know, who are you? I'm a servant of God. That's what we were made to do. So, but if we go against that, we're using our free choice, and oh, God is enjoying so much, I want to be God, you know, like that. I want to, God is dancing with the gopis. I want to be in the center of the gopis dance, the Rasa Lila, and have my own gopis and so forth like that. So if we want to try to take God's position, imitate God, then we are put into the material world. And if we keep misusing our free choice, then we're going to have to come back again and again and again and again and again. And it's compared to killing the soul. It doesn't actually kill the soul, but you've killed the soul's opportunity to live in its normal condition, in its natural existence, in the spiritual world where life is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss, Satchit Ananda. That's Vaikuntha spiritual atmosphere. You've locked yourself out of that, you know, permanently. If you keep making these wrong choices to rebel against God and live a godless life and try to enjoy without God, then pretty much the soul will never get to express or experience or exhibit that natural life, and that in your spiritual form, spiritual body, in a loving relationship with Bhagavan, with God, and the Vaikuntha. One will always be just transferred again and again. It's called samsara. You know the word samsara?
Yes.
Yes, so it's a cycle of birth and death. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi. Then Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi. So birth, old age, disease, death. Birth, old age, disease, death. Like that, samsara. So it's also called samsara chakra. Chakra means
okay,
it's
yeah,
a circle.
cycle.
So you just, as you know, a circle has no end, right?
Yeah.
You go round and 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 round. So that's not a good circle to be on.
You have to get out of that.
And there's no end to that. Like it's said that there's one verse, one line says, Anadi karma phale. Anadi karma phale. Anadi. Adi means beginning. Anadi. Without beginning. Karma. Your activities in the material world. Phale. Phale means the fruits.
Right.
So because we've been just going after trying to enjoy the fruits of in the material world, the results of our activities, without, you can't trace out when it began. We've been here such a long time. Don't think, I've been in the material world for a few lifetimes or whatever like that. No, we've been in the material world for millions of lifetimes. If you have a human form of life, there's a good chance you've been right through 8 million species. You know, there's 8,400,000 species, so we've been here for millions of lifetimes. So it's like if we continually choose to go against the Supreme Lord and disobey his laws and principles, then pretty much you've killed all your spiritual opportunities for that loving relationship. The bhakti is that opportunity to have a loving relationship with God is like killed, although actually not killed and not possible. But such a long time we can be away from that. It's compared to like just killing it.
It's like absence of spiritual life. It's actually, killing your soul or something like that, is it?
But killing, the word killing is used to indicate that is very terrible. To go against the Lord is like, it's like the path of self-destruction. So it's a very heavy word is used, kill the soul, to indicate that, you know, we're really pushing ourselves down to such a low level of existence and low level of consciousness. I mean, you can imagine the eternal soul, right, which nature is to be full consciousness. Chit means conscious, fully conscious. But you can imagine, due to the karma, the soul is put into the body of a worm or a cockroach or a tree, like a gum tree in Australia or a kauri tree in New Zealand for hundreds of years. And there's almost no consciousness. Although the soul's nature is fully conscious, but being stuck in that material body, the consciousness is almost nothing. Hardly you feel anything. And certainly no awareness of God, no awareness of the soul, of the bhakti or anything like that. It's just eating and sleeping and mating and defending and so forth. And the consciousness is almost brought down to nothing, just so much ignorance. So this is the situation. Like it said here, the faithless, as the worlds of the faithless. So if we have no faith in God, and we turn away from God and live a materialistic, godless life, then we're just pushing ourselves down further and further. And we should never think that God is pushing us down. No. People say, oh, why did God create so much suffering? No, we have created the suffering. God does not want us to suffer. God wants us to come back to the spiritual world, to Vaikuntha, and live happily with him. But we're the ones that are rebellious and so stubborn and continuously going against his good advice, good instructions, and therefore we create so many problems for ourselves. So we create our own problems and we create our own suffering. It's no one else is to blame, not anyone else, and not God either.
Is it I mean, yeah, would it be that we know that our constitution, the material life, and then there's spiritual life, but what about those people who not even aware of their spiritual life, that there is something like, there's more than material life. You have to understand your purpose and constitution. So some of them are totally ignorant. They don't even know that. So would that categorize same as being killing your soul or something? Or basically you're totally materialistic. You don't have any idea about that there is what is our purpose? There is something more than, just material life.
Yeah, that is the complete manifestation of the killing the soul. That there's no higher consciousness at all. It's just fully animalistic. Where is food? Where's I got to pay for the mortgage to sleep? I got to buy some clothes for the body. I would have some sex and like that, and protect all my assets and defend my property and everything like that. So completely animalistic life. So that is the manifestation. That is the actualization of one who is killing the soul. They're in that situation, but they're in that situation because of past wrong choices. Because of past wrong choices to turn away from God, that is the result. I mean, if we don't want to love God, if we don't want to think about God, remember God, he's not going to force himself. He's going to remove himself from our life so that you're never going to be able to think about him. And that's our choice. And God reciprocates with that. He's not going to force himself in our face and say, here I am, I am the Supreme Lord, you surrender to me. No, love has to be voluntary. You can't hold a gun to your wife's head or your kid's head, love me. No, you can't do that. That's not a desirable kind of relationship. You can't force it. like that. So, but in human life, it's understood that we, and this is how Prabhupada starts off the purport. Let's just start the purport and then it'll become more clear.
Yeah, okay.
Let's start that one. Just read the first, the first paragraph.
Okay. Human life is distinguished from animal life due to its heavy responsibilities. Those who are cognizant of these responsibility and who work in the spirit, in that spirit, are called suras or godly persons. And those who are neglectful of these responsibilities or who have no information of them are called asuras or demons. Throughout the universe, there are only these two types of human being. In the Rig Veda, it is stated that the suras always aim at the lotus feet of Supreme Lord Vishnu and act accordingly. Their ways are illuminated as the path of sun. Okay.
So yeah, Prabhupada's making the point there that human life is a great responsibility. He doesn't say and animal life and bird life and fish life. No, only the human species a heavy responsibility. Why is that? Because we have a more highly developed consciousness. That's why. And they don't have that highly developed consciousness. They literally cannot go beyond eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, those four activities. They can't go into asking questions about spiritual life. They can't think about God. They don't have the capacity to think, who am I? Why am I here? Why am I suffering? Is there a solution to the suffering? Why do I have to grow old? Why do I have to get sick? Why do I have to die? Like that. They can't think like that. Where do I come from? How did the universe begin? They can't think about these deeper things in life. But human beings innately, automatically, we have these things here. When we're all born, that capacity comes out very soon. Not straight away when we're born, but in our early years, that capacity awakens. Unfortunately, modern day society and most modern cultures, they suppress that. There's a saying that most kids go into the educational system believing in God, and they come out of the educational system an atheist, not believing in God. So we educate people in this modern society to not believe in God, to become faithless. I mean, I remember I was taught at school in the later years, teenage years, biology. And in biology, they teach you that the universe started from a big bang. There's no God that created everything. And they teach you that we evolved from monkeys, that your great-great-great-great-grandfather was a monkey. They don't tell you that God is the supreme father of everyone and that he created everything. They say it all just happened by chance, and then you become an atheist. And, the goal of life is just to make more and more money. And that's the criteria for being happy, is just to have more money and a big position. And, the power and position, money is that. And that's all what it means to be a happy person, successful person. They don't say that a real successful life is when your body dies, not to take birth again, which in Vedic culture, that's the quality of real success, is that you get moksha. After this body dies, you get mukti, you get moksha. But no, in modern day society, it's just about, making more and more money. And we never think about the end of the life. We live like we're going to live forever. Although everyone really knows that we don't, but we live like we're never going to die. We never consider, prepare for the next life or anything like that. And, we're taught there is no next life, that there's only one life, which is a completely, atheistic, materialistic philosophy, that we're just a body, that there's no soul. I never even heard about the soul until I met the Hare Krishnas.
Yeah,
So that's complete,
yeah,
not from
that's
my
true.
parents, and not from my teachers, not from my peers or my friends. Nobody ever talked about the soul, let alone God. I mean, some people, Christians, talk about God, but even amongst Christians, they don't really have a good understanding about the soul or anything like that. And it's just such a lack of knowledge, so much ignorance in modern day society. So, but that nature is there within us, from a young age, that we look at the stars at night and we think, where did all this come from? So those questions are there. But the adults in that say, don't ask those questions. That's a silly question. Don't talk about that. Or tell us something stupid like it just came from a big bang or whatever like that, and just push us down and give us the wrong information like that. But that nature is there, that we have that inquisitiveness. It's called in Sanskrit,
Jigyasa.
yeah, jignasa.
Mm.
So only the human species has that. Very good,
And
jignasa.
I think, yeah, very true. I mean, when the kids, as you said, when you're young, they ask question very freely. They're
Yeah,
more jigyasa or inquisitive,
yeah,
natural question coming.
yeah,
And as you said very rightly, um, as we go through society and education, they just basically repress our inquisitiveness on outer scale. I mean, on spiritual life, what is
yeah,
beyond, why we are
yeah,
here, all those questions. I mean, are becomes secondary. I think that's what it is.
yeah,
I think,
yeah,
and materialistic life becomes first. And as you said,
yeah.
we speculating that the whole thing came from a big bang. I mean, who has actually verified that? And
That's right.
the information. I mean, yeah. So I never questioned that till now. I mean,
Yeah.
said, why?
Yeah.
Now I've started thinking. And there is a method to this madness or system. I mean, if we don't understand, but
Mm.
God has created something and it's working under certain rules. I think
Yeah.
that's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't realize that. That's the thing, that we are not independent. Something is controlling us. I guess
Yeah.
that's what it is.
I mean, even look logically at that theory that it started from a big bang. Like an explosion is a very chaotic event, right?
Mm.
Normally, there'll be pieces flying in all directions and it's all scattered everywhere. But how come, if it started from a big bang, everything is so organized?
Mm. Mm.
Like, have you ever seen planets that collide with each other?
Planets colliding with each other.
Now they all have a specific
Mm.
orbit, right? They
Mm.
they never crash.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that, Mars crashed into Jupiter
Mm.
or Venus crashed into Saturn or
Mm.
anything like that? Now, everything, I mean, what's the chances of that? If everything just came out from there was one big lump and it just all blew apart, what's the chances? I mean, if that happened, you would expect things to collide with each other and just be very chaotic and disorganized. But in the universe we live in, it doesn't look like that. Everything is rotating in a fixed orbit, as if someone's saying, don't go a little bit left, don't go a little bit right, go this way. It's like completely ordered and organized. It's just such incredible design. I mean, look, for example, at this Earth's relationship with the sun, the distance. If we were a little bit closer to the sun than what we are, we would be like a potato crisp.
Mm.
We would be burnt up. If we were a little bit further away from the sun than what we are, we'd be an
Frozen.
ice block.
Yeah, frozen. Yeah.
So it's just incredible.
Mm.
The level of organization. I mean, just look at the road. If everyone follows the road rules, then generally there's no crashes.
Mm.
You've got thousands of cars traveling on the road, but as long as they follow the rules, then they don't hit each other.
Yeah.
But and the universe is like that. So it looks like there's a lot of laws and rules, and someone's made those, and people are following those laws given by someone. I mean, Prabhupada said that Suryadev, he follows his orbit revolving through the universe, giving illumination to the universe out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of fear of Bhagavan, because he knows if I go and turn a little bit left or a little bit right, then Narayan is going to get up, angry with me. He's doing his duty. Suryadev is doing his duty, and Chandra is doing his duty, and Indra is doing his duty, and Varuna and Vayu. They're all doing their duties very perfectly, and they're under the order coming down from the big boss, from Narayana, from Vishnu, ultimately Krishna, and they do their duties very exactly. So everything's very organized, and the demigods who are controlling the planets are following the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If it's a big bang, why don't I see chaos around me? But there's no chaos in the universe. I mean, there's a bit of chaos in human society because we don't follow the God's laws. But everywhere else in nature, it's so systematic and so organized. Every year, it's spring, summer, autumn, winter. It doesn't go like that one year, and another year it goes spring, winter, summer, autumn, and then it goes, autumn, spring, winter, summer. It's not like chaos. It's perfectly, isn't it?
And if you look at it, it's everything, and we don't question that. If you question that how come there is a system? Who has created this? We talk about planets. You talk about an ant. The physiology of that ant, how it works, or our system, which is quite the body, the material body itself is a complex, and it works on certain rules, right?
Yeah.
So we don't actually ask the basic question. I think is that there must be somebody behind it. You can't just come up. And if the Big Bang is there, what caused the Big Bang? I mean, it can't happen on its own.
On its own, that's another good point. So, I mean, by our logic and reasoning, you can understand there must be someone controlling it, someone behind it, but you can't know who it is by your logic and reasoning. But you must know there must be someone. There must be someone in control, intelligent person in control. I don't know who it is. You can't figure that out with your own mind.
That's right.
But you can figure out with your own mind there must be someone in control. There must be someone behind, because it's too organized to be by chance. The other question which Prabhupada asked, which is very intelligent, is they say Big Bang, but then the question is, who pushed the button? So that's one thing. We know that for an explosion to happen, you have a bomb, right? An explosive device, but you always need a person to push the plunger, to, push the button. Yeah. And a bomb doesn't go off by itself. Yes. You always have a person who controls the explosion. So in that same scenario, just assume that's correct, that there was a Big Bang, but then but before the bang, someone must have been there to make it go bang, because things don't blow up by themselves. There's always a person involved with an explosion. So Prabhupada raised that point, which we never thought about. We just think about, just the universe went bang, but we never thought about, okay, but there must have been someone there to make it go bang. But of course, we don't even accept that there was a Big Bang. But even if you did have faith in that philosophy, then how do you answer, what made it go bang?
That's right,
So there's a lot of holes in these different theories that we just blindly follow, blindly accept. So this is giving us a lot more logical explanation, and it's very sobering hearing this, that human life is a great responsibility. We don't maybe like to hear that. We like to think, I mean, I was brought up thinking that I can do any damn thing I like, you know, I can do whatever I like, and I'm not held accountable for my activities like that. Of course, I mean, in human society, we sort of are. I mean, if you steal, you'll be, you know, responsible for that, or if you kill someone or whatever, you'll be held responsible. But in terms of, you know, we don't think there's any laws of God. We don't think there's laws of nature, laws of God, and we think we can do anything. And there's no God in control to punish us after death, or there's no nature that's going to punish us. But that's also illogical. How can we have laws in human society, and if you break the laws, you're punished, but in the universal scale, there's no laws? That doesn't make sense. I mean, we say, you know, often law of gravity, you know, law of thermodynamics, law of diminishing returns. You know, there's so many laws, you know, mathematical, economical, you know, social, everything like that. So, of course, there is. You know, if there's man-made laws in human society, then there's also universal laws, and we'll be held responsible if we break those universal laws, like we'll be held responsible if we break the laws of humanity, and that's just logical.
Mm. Yeah, it's yeah, we have our focus. I think what we figure out the natures and law of nature is from what our senses can perceive, not beyond that. So yeah, that's. But you can see that there are laws, and we don't never question those who actually created those laws. So yeah, that's the thing we have been lacking, and the society and we are so conditioned, I guess. Since we are born, we are, as you said, we are not. We are questions. Our inquisitiveness is suppressed, and we are taught things which are very material. You know, in school as well. You just the real knowledge you don't know. I mean, it's not the college and schools are not the real education. This is to understand your constitution, your purpose. Probably is what's your role in this universe. I mean, how you can once you understand that, probably you should be able to live accordingly, and that's probably is the way it should be according to the laws of nature or laws of God. Yeah. So yeah, we have been, as you said, Kali Yuga. We are going away from spiritual things. But
So two divisions are given here.
yeah,
The suras, or the demigods, godly persons, and the asuras, the demons. So it's saying that in the universe, there's only two kinds of people, only two kinds of human beings in the universe. So you can put them in one of these two categories. There's not more than that. So, and basically saying those that follow the human responsibility, they are called the suras or demigods, and those that neglect their human responsibility, they are the asuras, the demons. And what is the responsibility? The responsibility is to live a God-conscious life. That's our responsibility as a human being. That human life gives us an opportunity for self-realization, for God realization. That's a responsibility. If we take that up, and of course to follow God's laws, that to understand first of all that I am a soul and there is a supreme soul God, and I have a responsibility to follow his authority. He's the authority. I have to follow his authority, his laws. So that's our responsibility. If you say, oh, no, there is no God and I don't have to follow any laws of God and everything like that, so you're neglecting to take up that responsibility, then you become an asura. That's what an asura, a demon, is. And that's got nothing to do whatsoever with what the body looks like. Asura doesn't just mean someone that has the horns and has a forked tongue and has red eyes and everything like that and black skin or something like that, or it's got nothing to do with what the body looks like. I mean, for example, you know about Ravana, right?
yes.
Okay. So Ravana was born in a Brahmin family. His father is a great sage, a rishi. So he's born in Brahmin family. and beautiful white skin and pale skin and beautiful features. He's very attractive. So many women wanted to be with him because very good looking, very handsome, and Brahmin family. But he is categorized as what? As an asura, as a rakshasa, as an asura, as a demon, because he was anti-Ram. He was
Anti-God, yeah.
antagonistic to Lord Ram. And in fact, he wanted to take Ram's property, Sita. You know, this is what the demons do. They take the Lord's property for their own enjoyment. So he wanted to take Sita away from Ram. What a rascal. And he got killed by the Lord for doing that. You know, so this is the thing. If you disobey God's laws, and then you'll be punished and suffer like that. So this is the situation here. Okay, let's continue.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Intelligent human beings must always remember that the soul obtains a human form after an evolution of many millions of years in the cycle of transmigration. The material world is sometimes compared to an ocean, and the human body is compared to a solid boat designed specially to cross this ocean. The Vedic scriptures and the acharyas or saintly teachers are compared to expert boatmen, and the facilities of human body are compared to favorable breeze that help the boat fly smoothly to its desired destination. If, with all these facilities, a human being does not fully utilize his life for self-realization, he must be considered Atmaha, a killer of soul. Sri Isopanisad warns in clear terms that the killer of soul is destined to enter into the darkest region of ignorance, to suffer perpetually.
So Prabhupada's emphasizing that we should always remember that we have got this human life after so many reincarnations. This is a great, opportunity, very rare. Very rare. Of course, 400,000 human species out of 8,400,000. So the percentage is not a big percentage. Not a big percentage. So, and we've been through all the other species, lower species, that this is the highest point. This is the pinnacle in the evolutionary cycle. Of course, when we talk about evolution, we talk about the soul evolving through different bodies. The soul goes through a bird's body, goes into the animal's body, goes into the, like that fish, so forth. But Darwin's talking about the body evolving, the body changing.
Yeah.
But that's not the real evolution. The real evolution is the soul is evolving from one body to the next, to the next. Not that the body is changing. Not that the body of a monkey evolves into the body of a human. You see what I'm saying? Not that there was some fish in the water and then their body slowly evolved and changed into come out on the land and started crawling on the land, and then that one evolved into. So not that the body is evolving. The bodies are always there, always the same. Since the beginning of creation, there was fish, and there is fish now. At the beginning of creation, there was monkeys, and there's monkeys now. The beginning of creation, there was humans, and the humans are there now. So the species are not changing, but the soul is changing through different species, through different bodies. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
So we've got this human body is the highest point of the evolutionary cycle. We've been taken birth many, many times to get this is a great privilege. It's a great opportunity. And if you don't use this great privilege and opportunity for the God realization, the self-realization, it's taken away. So when you die, the body dies, the soul will go back down into the lower species. because this human life is given to us as an opportunity to get the moksha, the mukti, like we've said. If you don't use it for that, to be inquisitive about the spiritual life and make spiritual advancement, then it's taken away. Then you back down again like that. So, and that's going to be a very, very long time. If you lose the human form, if you go back down, it's a very, very, like it says here, darkest region of ignorance to suffer perpetually. Perpetually means just, it's a very, very long time. Very, very long time. So that should be, you know, a scary thought for us. That should help us to become more sober, more serious. I mean, any sane person should be afraid of going back down into the lower species. Of course, in modern society, we're so ignorant, we're not even afraid of going back down into lower species. This is real ignorance. It's a sign of real ignorance. I mean, I know one survey that was done in England and UK, and this was amongst people that believed in reincarnation to some degree. Although they don't really understand it, but, you know, they maybe had some faith in reincarnation. So they asked people in the survey, if you're gonna come back, if you're gonna reincarnate, what would you want to reincarnate as? What do you want to come back as? And for people, it was like a joke. It's like fun, you know. And maximum number of women in UK. Do you know what form they would want if they had a choice?
No.
In the next slide.
No, I can't think of a woman. Okay, what they want.
The maximum choice that the woman made was for sarpa.
Sorry, what was that?
Sarpa, snake. Sarp, snake.
Oh, okay.
Snake.
Oh, wow. Oh.
That's not a good sign. If a woman wants to be a snake, that's not a good sign. I think they're already a snake. You know, they must be very envious and hateful and so many. Because that's what a snake is, just very envious and just kills without any bites without any reason, you know. And so that's not a good sign. And they're just thinking this is fun, you know. I would take birth as a dog or take birth as a fish. Oh, I want to become a dolphin, or I want to become a bird and fly in the sky. Or they think this is a very good thing to take birth as a bird or an animal or a fish or whatever like that. But from a platform of higher knowledge, from the Vedic point of view, this is terrible. This is horrible. All the species, they're suffering so much from the same things we suffer from birth and death and old age and disease in between. It's just calamities, you know, that it's completely miserable in every form. But people are thinking, oh, it'll be fun to take birth as a dog or a cat or whatever like that. This is so sad, you know, and so ignorant. But, and of course, another thing that should be understood, that nobody has a choice about what body they will get in the next life. You may say, I want to become a snake, but it's not up to you to decide what body you get. You'll get a particular body according to your karma, according to your karma in this life and past lives. You're going to get a particular body. And that will be ordained by the higher authorities, like Yamaraj, right? Like Yamaraj and the Yamadutas and like that. They will see what is the record. They will look at what Narendra has done these many good things, this many bad things. Abai has done this many good things, this many bad things. Okay, where will we put him? Which body we will give? You can't say, oh, I want this. No, they're going to say, stuff you. You know, you don't have a choice. You know, so one point is, it's horrible to take birth in any form. You know, if you go down, it's a long time to come back up to human. And another point is that you don't get to choose where you're going to go. You know, you might say, my grandpa, my granddad went to heaven. How come everyone says that? Everyone says that, oh, my grandma, my grandpa, they all went to heaven, or everyone goes to heaven, or my friend, he died, he went to heaven. We all, of course, we're all hopeful that people get a good destination, but you know, that's not being very realistic, because if the people are eating meat and drinking and smoking and going gambling and womanizing and godless and everything, then they're not going to be going to heaven. It's highly unlikely. The main thing is according to your karma. According to your karma, and whether you follow God's laws, then you'll be elevated to a higher platform. And if you disobey God's laws, you'll be going down. But of course, we're very sentimental, and we say, oh, everyone goes up. Everyone that dies, they all go up. But that's very sentimental. We all want, it's nice, we want people to be happy. But if we really want people to be happy, we should try to encourage them to improve their karma. Improve their karma. Because it's a big responsibility, and you can't misuse your responsibility and neglect it and then say, oh, I'm going to heaven and everyone's going to go to heaven. It doesn't work like that. If you it's like if you misbehave at work, you're not going to get a promotion. You're going to get a demotion or tossed out. It doesn't matter whether I perform or not perform. I'm going to go up. It doesn't work like that. If you perform, you go up. If you don't perform, you go down. It's not like whatever I do doesn't matter. Everyone goes up. It's not like that, isn't it?
Yes, that's also a system. So, but we don't know. We don't have any control. The only thing is you can control yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
But as you said, because of ignorance, people not aware of that. So as you said, Bhagavad Gita has, if it's coming from God and God is telling you this is the way to do it. But if you're not aware of that, as you said, those people who are just saying, I want to be a serpent or I want to be this and that, but there's a rule behind it. You can't just, want something and you get it. Anyway, that's basically out of your control. It's only way that you live here or utilize your responsibility. As it's saying, I think that's what it means, that you have great responsibility to understand the current world and what your behavior should be to go graduate. Otherwise, you will be demoted back from, if you fail, you go back to the year one or something like that.
Yeah.
So we have to follow the rules of the universe, or as you said, rules of the God, if you want to. Yeah. And he has actually given us in form of Vedas and scriptures in everywhere.
Yeah. And a beautiful analogy is given here, which is in the scriptures, and Prabhupada has explained this, of the material world compared to an ocean. And this body is compared to a boat. So you need a boat to cross the ocean. So in the same way, this human body can help us cross over the ocean of the material world, of the cycle of birth and death, samsara. And of course, with a boat, you need a captain, or sailors. You need a captain to give guidance to the boat, and that's the spiritual master.
Acharyas.
Yeah. And it doesn't say it here, but in other places it says, also you need favorable winds. You need the wind to push the sail, because previously boats were sailboats. They needed wind. Now we have a motor, but previously they needed. So they said the favorable winds are the Vedas. They're also helping us to.
Oh yeah, that's giving you that. That's where you find your navigation, right?
Yeah. So the just like the winds is pushing the boat, so the Vedic knowledge, the knowledge is also pushing us out of ignorance, pushing us towards the Lord. But we need some navigation, and that's the spiritual master, the guru, the acharyas guiding us. But you also need a boat, and that's the human body. The human body is the boat. Of course, if you've got a captain and you got wind but no boat, isn't it? Yeah. Like if you didn't have the human body, even the spiritual master, The spiritual master can't help a dog.
Yes, that's right.
The spiritual master can't help a pig. The spiritual master can help a human, not a fish. It can't help a fish or a pig or a tree, but it can if you have the right boat. So the human body is the right boat. But then, okay, I have a human body, but that's not enough. Then you need guidance, like a captain for the ship. And then you need the wind to push, and that's the Vedas. So like that. So if you have all these things, if you have the boat, if you have the captain, if you have the wind, then you can cross over the ocean.
Yes.
So like that, then you can get the mukti, the moksha. You can get over the ocean of the Maya, which is samsara sagara. This is called the ocean of birth and death. Samsara chakra, also samsara sagara. So they're different analogies compared to a wheel, a chakra, and also the ocean. Means
that's
like an ocean is...
Cycle of transmigration is that same thing, sansara.
Yeah.
Or bhavasagara or something. I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like you're okay.
Yeah. Or why is the material world compared to an ocean? Because an ocean obviously is very vast. It's huge. So also we have been in the material world for so long. It's just we're lost in it. It's just so big. The universes are so huge, and we're just lost. Like imagine that you were dropped in the middle of the Pacific Ocean or the Indian Ocean. What chance do you have?
No chance.
No chance, So it's like that. Being in the material world, you just completely a goner. You're finished. So the only hope is if you're on the ocean and then you get picked up by a boat, then you can get out. But if you don't have the boat, then you're finished. Even if you're a good swimmer, it's pointed out, even you might be the best swimmer, but if you're in the middle of the Indian Ocean, doesn't matter how good a swimmer you are, you're dead. You're finished.
If you don't have a captain who knows where to go,
or
if captain has to have some kind of a navigation equipment, which is Vedic scriptures, and then he is versed in that, so he can actually take it. That makes sense.
So very good analogy to help us understand these principles. How much time do you have? Do you want to go a little bit more or stop here? What do you want to do?
No, that's fine. I mean, I think that's probably if you want, we can stop here. That's not a problem. We can start next. After Christmas.
After a couple of weeks, yep.
Yeah. So that should be fine. Yeah, that's quite deep. So I'll just go through, read it, and we can restart. So that was a pretty good session. So yeah.
And if we make use of this human facility for its proper purpose, for self-realization, then very quickly we can make progress. Very quickly we can advance. But we should utilize our time very seriously, very soberly, that we don't have long in this human body. And of course, nobody knows when the body is going to die. Maybe I'll live to 100 years, maybe 50 years. We don't know whether we going to live through old age or we're going to get hit by a truck tomorrow, have a heart attack. So we don't know how long we have in the human body. Of course, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it tells how King Parikshit, he was cursed to die in 7 days. He was cursed by a Brahmana named Shringi to be bitten by a snake in 7 days. So that's how the Bhagavatam took place. Then the king renounced the kingdom. He's the grandson of Arjuna, Parikshit Maharaj. Arjuna's son was Abhimanyu, who got killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. And Abhimanyu's son, his wife was Uttara, and the son was Parikshit. So he's the grandson of the Pandavas, and everyone else got killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. So the Pandavas handed over the kingdom to him when he grew up, and but then he got cursed, and then he had 7 days, and then he just sat on the bank of the Ganga, and he met one rishi named Shukadev Goswami, and Shukadev Goswami just spoke the glories of the Lord, Srimad Bhagavatam, to him for 7 days. But Prabhupada points out there, he knew he didn't have less than 7 days. He didn't have more than 7 days, but he didn't have less. So he knew he had 7 days. But Prabhupada's point is, none of us know that we even have 7 days. Can any one of us guarantee that we've got 7 days?
No.
I mean, we hope we have a lot more than 7 days, but we could have less than 7 days. But the good thing for him was that he knew he didn't have any less than 7 days. So he could prepare. The point is he could prepare for death. But for us, often we take it for granted that we're going to live so long, and we don't prepare for death. Actually, before death, we should be God realized. We should be self-realized before death. And because we don't know how long we got, that means we should take it up seriously now. There's no, like they say, there's no time like the present. There's no time like the present. Actually, the past doesn't exist and the future doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is the present. Right now, that's all we have. You can't utilize the past and you can't utilize the future. All you can utilize is the present. And so even we should use time management in spiritual life. Actually, the best time manager is the guru, is the best time manager. If you look at Prabhupada's daily schedule that he had, you would be completely blown off your chair. And any of them, and Prabhupada's guru or grandfather guru or any of them, you'll be blown away. They don't waste like 1 second of time. It's just utilizing everything so perfectly. And some of them were grihastas, like family men, and they worked too. But they were just so efficient in their work. Like one of them, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Prabhupada's grandfather, spiritual master, the guru of his guru, he had 10 children. And he was a court magistrate during the time the British were ruling India. Very big position. It was the highest position an Indian could occupy during the time of the British rule. And he was in Orissa. And he worked 6 hours a day. He did twice as much work in half the time of any other judge. Did you get that? Twice as much work in half the time. Means he's so efficient. Because why did he do that? Try to do the work so quickly? Because he had better things to do than just make money. He wrote more than 100 books. He wrote more than 100 books and beautiful bhajans, and he established so many centers of Krishna consciousness and big preacher, and he was so active. And he slept about 3.5 hours a day.
Wow.
He didn't waste time. And also Prabhupada was the same. He only slept about 3.5, 4 hours a day. And it's just amazing. They're very serious about how they use their time because they know I don't have much time. This human form of life is so valuable. We don't realize how valuable this human life is. This is like your ultimate treasure, is this human body. And just to throw it away, waste it without developing our higher consciousness is just throwing it away. So, using it very carefully. They took it very seriously. And it's a wonderful asset we have.
Yes, true. I mean, yeah, and mantra 2, he says everything you do is should be God-centered. Is that how you can actually keep, maximum, you remembering God, or
yes,
doing everything God-centered? That's anything you're doing, basically.
Yeah, family, work,
focus,
anything. All the time, yeah.
All right, I think that's good. That was good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, likewise. So have a nice holiday season.
You too have a nice one, and I'll see you, I guess, at the next year.
Okay.
Happy New Year.
Okay, Happy New Year to you too.
All right, okay.